all just, we're playing with all these energies and we're playing with all these intensities, and technology sometimes it just has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it just has a life of its own.
Exactly, that's it. And both of us have really upgraded, haven't we? We both, well, welcome everyone. We're already talking, Tanya and I, and we're living in the flow. And we just wanted to say that we've both upgraded all of our tech. Like, we can't upgrade anymore unless we go like a really high-tech pro
Yeah, unless we're a studio.
TV. Yes, that's right. Like, a professional TV studio. And yet still we experience all of these kind of little issues, and not just, in our home, but like in what the town is doing, what the internet provider is doing. So everything is needing to upgrade. And like I don't know, with you, Tanya, you said you had to upgrade as well a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when I started channeling Yeshua one time, he came really strong, and I could feel that burst of energy, that I feel coming
Yeah.
through as Yeshua came through. And it crashed the computer, went to blue screen of death, and that's when I had to upgrade just for Yeshua. He didn't pay the bill. I had to still pay the this is the thing with all these non-physical friends of ours. They just kind of do what they want, like whether you invite them or don't invite them to all of these shows or whatever, they just turn up and do whatever they want, and they don't pay any bills.
They know that we're provided for, so it doesn't matter. Like it's like, oh, what the heck? You're a millionaire anyway, so just
exactly
get yourself together.
It's really quite hilarious. And today, like, we so talking about this wild ride of being a human, and oh my gosh, like, we keep repeating this, don't we? Like, how humor is so important.
It's essential, fundamental.
Yeah. And it just makes it so much more fun, because like otherwise you can, as a human self, feel a victim, because, like we've been, as a human self, we've been separated from the divine, and that was the journey. So that, like we got so encased into the physical that we couldn't even, and most of the majority of humanity can't even imagine that there's anything more. It's just like they think the physical is all that is. What you see, what you feel is all there is, even though they're watching TV and they can't see the signal until it hits the antenna, isn't it?
But and we all use the mobiles and internet, everything.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, it's all just whatever is physical. But it's just like you have to have this humor and laugh. And sometimes it's such a bumpy ride, and the intensities of all these releases. Did you feel them this last couple of weeks of all the humanity changing and stuff?
Yeah. For me, it's been really interesting because it's been intense in many different ways. And but mostly the intensity is really... And for me, it has been an upgrade in terms of the balancing of energy. So my materialization skills they've just enhanced like crazy. So it's all of a sudden things just pop up even more instantly than before. My creativity, my capacity to be in many places at the same time and do many things without losing any of them, as if I'm only in one. It's incredible, really incredible and intense, super intense. And what I notice is that we have come to a point of no compromise. So in my life, everything that is not aligned with my sovereignty is just being swept out. And everything that is coming in. So it's like a huge wave of magnificent, beautiful everything, people, things, etc., creative ideas, inspiration, whatever. And on the other hand, also a huge tsunami wave of things moving out, be it experiences, also people, things, whatever. It's like the intensity is as large with the moving out as it is with the moving in. And wow, we really have to be very present in order to be able to embrace the whole thing. And when we are capable of being that present and not wanting to sway to the wow or the aw, if we don't want to sway either way and are capable of staying in that point of balance, it's just so magnificent, the whole of it. There is not one single part, no matter how some parts seem a bit sad, that bring up a bit of grief, and then on the other hand, others are so joyous and magnificent, and but none of them are less than the other. So it's like it's being able to experience the duality of being human without being dual, which is really crazy. It's beautiful. I am so grateful to be able to be where I am at right now, that I can really embrace and appreciate the whole thing, no longer needing to sort of escape one part to be in the other, or I don't know, be afraid of whatever or so on. And it's no less challenging. Being in that balance is no less challenging than if I were in the dual kind of thing. It's not less challenging, but it is entirely fulfilling. And I believe that is the big difference, is being able to be fulfilled with all, rather than feeling a lack of something, than feeling somehow a need to escape, then feeling somehow a need to deny or forego a part of the experience. It's being so aware that I am not this physical reality, yet I am here to experience it fully. It's being so aware of that really, no matter whether in a certain moment a challenge comes up that seems a little bit more emotional, and then in another moment it's gone, and then there's something else which is just peaceful and so on. No matter where I'm at, is this knowingness that I am the all, that I am the spaces in between, that I am the timelessness, that I am infinity, that I am the immortality, that I am beyond illusion, beyond limitation. Yet I can experience illusion and I can experience limitation fully with a smile or a tear, it doesn't really matter, without getting lost in it, and knowing that I'm never ever gonna get lost in it again. And I sense many times when I interact with people, especially, I mean, Shaumbra and people who are really conscious of the whole multidimensionality, and so that the fear is many times, the fear of really embracing humanness is of getting lost again, of forgetting again. But there is no turning back. The river doesn't flow the opposite way. It only flows one way. You can't really turn back. There's no way you can unremember what you have remembered. There's no way you can become unconscious once you are conscious of something. That's why ignorance is said to be bliss. Because once you know something, you can't unknow it. And so, fortunately, we know in this inner knowingness is from thereafter. So once we touch it and once we really embrace it, that is the rudder, and it's not going to be anything else. So no matter how shaky it gets, knowing that we are safe always in this here and now within us is it, for me, in my own experience, knowing that, living that, no matter what is moving or shifting, is actually an honor. It's become an honor to be human and to be on earth. I've realized, oh my God, this is such an honor. I am here to honor this experience, to embrace it with such gratitude that it can really, really now be something completely new. And it is each and every single day. And it is no longer something that I want to get over and done with quickly and move on to the other dimensions, because I am in the other dimensions anyway all the time. I don't need to be in the other dimensions more than I am already, because I've chosen to be in this dimension too and experience it in form. So to be everywhere at the same time and have that sense and knowingness and allow it is just these times are just wow. So yeah, that's been my experience.
That's beautiful. Like so much is happening, isn't it? Because we're a bit earlier this month, like so it's only been like a couple of weeks, and yet it feels like a whole month has passed in between.
Yeah.
So, because so much has happened for me, I'm still in a very kind of inward way, like quiet way. I haven't really felt to write much. I haven't, like felt to express. Lucky I've got pictures. Because there's so much, it's hard to put into words anymore, because it's just like,
Yeah.
boom, the whole thing, and words just
And different.
don't seem to do it justice. And when you were talking about earlier, for me, it feels like things have become, how before there was this, not even judgment, but just an acknowledgement. Okay, this is a comfortable emotion. This is or feeling or something, an uncomfortable one. And now they've become very neutral, not that I don't feel them. I feel them deeply. Mm-hmm. But I just don't really have that judgment anymore. Oh, this is comfortable. This is uncomfortable. So it doesn't really matter as to what I'm feeling that much anymore, because even the bits that I used to didn't like or was pushing away, they don't matter if they come. They're not unpleasant anymore. So that's been the biggest difference. And also, it's like, for me, the same, some of the things have just disappeared. It's kind of like you said, that not past hasn't disappeared, but the ability to be unconscious, yes, that has disappeared. It's like, I can't go out of the present moment anymore. I can't. It just doesn't. Those pathways no longer exist to escape. And then I also remembered when you mentioned that some people, that people are afraid that if they surrender to their humanity. I remember that feeling. I had that so strongly as well, because I used to, like you mentioned last time, escape from life because it was too painful. It was too intense. It was too of everything, but not pleasant in a pleasant way. And then this surrender to humanity, it felt like, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck here forever. That was that fear in this hellhole. That's what it felt like at that time. Yeah. And but the interesting thing is that now I realize that, it's actually that in that being, when I was lost and unconscious in being human, it was actually when I most rejected it, and it's funny how those two things exist, because then you come to a point when you feel, wow, if I actually surrender to this, I will be then again stuck forever. But it's actually the other way around, because you've never accepted it in the first place, you see. And that's what was that being lost, because the consciousness was not there, because of this not allowing, not accepting, pushing it away from consciousness, from yourself, that it was actually never accepted, and it was unpleasant, because we weren't then present in that reality to then make it pleasurable, because presence of consciousness makes reality pleasurable. And so this surrender, it's not back into humanness, I find, but it's actually for the first time that you surrender into this humanness. And this surrender in itself, like, you know, the last decade, and you know, and again, like talking about this feminine, this surrender, it's very sexual for many people. And I know that a lot of people don't talk about this, but you know, like sexuality is very sacred. It's the real one, not the distorted one. And this continual real surrender, it is that feminine act that surrenders to that inner masculine. And even though it's not, you know, sometimes it's not good to always bring these two up, because it sort of feels like we're dividing again. But it's not really, because once you realize yourself as whole, then the inner dance just keeps happening, and it is just always so pleasurable, because it is like you're experiencing this cosmic type of orgasm.
That's it.
You know, and it is very, very it feels very similar to having a sexual experience in this way. Without once you've sort of resolved the virus, resolved all of those kind of issues, then it just becomes very effortless, very like a dance, like an inner beautiful dance. And for me, it's very tangible. Like I've become, like what you were saying, that you've become much more sensitive to certain things. I've become even more aware to all these little nuances on the inside, all of these different movements and all of the different parts and how they interact. It's almost like I can feel the atoms, you know, dancing together and interacting. And it's just a very interesting way to perceive yourself, because it's almost like, it's funny because like it's surrendering to the physicality, and then the physicality really disappears, because the hardness, the heart, like what you were saying, that you were manifesting much more easier. And I find that too, because the physicalness, that hardness of what we used to imagine physical reality to be, which is a slow moving, hard thing that happens to us, it just disappears. It not that it disappears, the perception changes. Once you're in it, and you see how you can feel it vibrating and buzzing, and the stones, you feel everything being alive, everything being this energy, everything being movable, changeable, manifestable. You know, it's quite a very different way of being, and yet at the same time it is very solid, because like, you know, I can look up in the sky and I see these incredible colors of the sunset or sunrise or whatever, and the colors of the trees intensify, and you know, I can see the details, not even with the eyes, but feel them as part of me, or at the same time as part of on the outside. And it sort of kind of feels like we're talking today. It's funny because we're talking about this wild ride of being human. And normally when we talk about human part, we talk about, oh, we have to resolve this, and we have to heal, and we have to, that human part of ourselves, if only it would just fix itself, or, you know, like that's the kind of when we
that's
talk about
wild
the human
ride usually means.
That's right. But now this wild ride is actually something completely different, you know. So where, like you said, this humanness, you realize how sacred it is, how a very unique experience it is, and how empowering it is as a soul to be sort of really in that space where I can really see as a soul and perceive how I manifest, how I'm a creator, what subtle changes within me that I change, and then how that then reflects out in the outside world. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work, and then
Yeah.
it's that humor. It's like, oops, oh, that didn't work. I won't do it again.
Right.
You kind of move on. And just this whole sensuality, I don't know how to explain. Like I've just been feeling this incredible sensuality to do also with other people,
Mm-hmm.
and but awake people. It's just
Yeah.
this wonderful feeling that other people give you, and you
Mm-hmm.
respond and react and dance with their energies. And yeah, so it's been very, very interesting. And at the same time also feeling the mass consciousness and all of those releases. But I must say that even that has really not, that intensity, it hasn't really been painful to me anymore. How can I
Mm-hmm.
say? It's something has definitely changed. Like I can feel the intensity, but it's changed. And it all really has to do with us just allowing and us just doing this work, continually allowing and allowing and allowing. And sometimes as a human part, going on a holiday is like, oh, soul, just step away. I just want to be a human today, like just do some crazy things or whatever, not surrender to you this kind of dance. And that space is also given, so it's quite incredible, the dance and the freedom that we have as humans, I find.
Yeah, me too. It's I find and I found continuously that whatever we totally surrender to, without resistance, be it being human, be it a relationship, be it whatever stuff that brought up fear. Once we really totally surrender to it, it liberates. We
Mm.
become free from it because once we're surrendering, as you said so beautifully, we're no longer resisting. And if we're not resisting, then we just simply are in that flow. And so we are getting all of the richness, all of the beauty that is bringing to us. And we no longer feel the constraint. So, and the sensuality, oh boy, it is really massive, massive. It's just all over the skin, all over the body, inside, outside, wherever. I mean, I don't know. Everything is really so sensual. Not only the, as you said, not only with ourselves, but also the interactions and the interactions. Also, I've had these beautiful interactions with earth itself, with nature, with all of these things, and it's all so very sensual. And what I find is that within our reality, everything is sort of kind of created in our image. What do I mean? So, because our atoms, everything in us is vibrating at a certain frequency, everything we touch, everything we move through, we play with, etc., becomes that. And so, even I noticed the water in my pool is like is a different water than the water it usually is in other pools. It's hard to explain, honestly. It's these subtleties. Like, for instance, some people who are usually late or never on time or don't do the work that they're asked to do when they should, etc. With me, I have they don't really fail. People who usually aren't are very serious, and so with me they don't behave the same way. And those who are not aligning are just getting out. or not necessarily not aligning, or eventually within another kind of experience. It's just like everything is shutting down for only that which really is in the same flow to be in my life. And I suppose that that's what I would say our life, but I'm saying mine because I can only share my experience. And so it's like mixing the ingredients of a cake, and they just mix and blend so naturally. It's like it's an effortless cake dough, just constantly being blended with new flavors, and all of those flavors, they are harmonious, they go together. And whatever is not in harmony with that, is it just simply moves. And sometimes it moves surprisingly, sometimes shockingly, sometimes it's like, oh, oops, oh, I wasn't expecting that. But then you realize, oh, wait a minute, but that's just exactly in tune and in line with my choices, and with my experiencing at the moment, with that which I am allowing. And basically, just like you so beautifully said, it's all about this allowing. And in the same way as this constant blend of the feminine and masculine, where they are not sort of being one or the other, but the distinction does exist, but not in a way that can be described as a distinction. So it's like maybe we would say the cake has different colors to it. And so some colors are the feminine and some colors are the masculine, but they're all the same cake. And they're not trying to be a different cake. They're not trying to be better or worse or whatever, or comparing or anything, because it's just all of these ingredients that come together. And in the same way, since the human is no longer an issue, then there is also not that separation between the human and the soul, the human and the divine. And I say the soul deliberately, because the soul meaning the one that has experienced lifetime upon lifetime, not only on this galaxy and planet, but in other places as well. So the soul that has been within experience, it's no longer that or that. It's like it's even hard to discern if there is a difference between the voice of the soul and the voice of the human, though sometimes we're sort of down here and the map is really small, because when you're on the path, right, you don't have, you don't see like on the map where you have all of the roads and then no, you're just there, right? So the map is really small. The map is what you have in that moment right there. And sometimes it's like, okay, let me allow a little bit more of my vision, a little bit more of my awareness to indicate, okay, where do I put my foot next? just okay. Oh, okay, that's it. Right. Okay. So it's basically tapping into a bit more of the sense, and then okay, now I'm a bit more just in the humanness of this, and then okay, let me allow the Wi-Fi to come on.
Yes.
And then okay, now we can tune down the Wi-Fi, because now I'm entertained with this stuff here, and I don't want to be aware of the Wi-Fi so much sometimes. And so it's basically kind of a fine-tuning also between the human experience, which is divine as well, but the multidimensionality and the angel senses, one would say, is kind of a tuning in, tuning out, because I mean, the intensity of being tuned in all the time. Oh, okay, okay. We're blending into that gradually, gradually, one piece at a time, one breath at a time. Because yeah, it becomes incredible when we are in that landscape of all. But then it's just like being we're having a map in your hand at one point, and then okay, you're on the road. That's how I experience it. So okay, so when I'm on the road, I'm on the road, right? I'm on the road, and that's it. And then sometimes, okay, let's tap into the map, which is not a map per se, because it doesn't have any predefined route, and it doesn't show all of the possibilities and etc. No, it's just what you need in that moment for that specific purpose, and that's all. So it's not a regular map. But well, just for the case of words, I'm calling it a map. And another really fantastic thing that is always present to me is that not even my soul knows the next turn, and didn't know when we came in. So yeah, we did have a perspective. There was I mean we, it's me, but yeah, just also for the case of I'm so many. In that sense, we. I'm the many and the one, and not separate in any case. So not in the we as disintegrated. Anyway, yeah. When I came in, when we came in, it was like, okay, this is the whole perspective. The whole idea is to get to this point, but you never know, because I mean, experience sometimes gets tricky and mucky, and you don't know where you're gonna get stuck, and you don't know if then in that moment you have to take a new route, whatever. Okay, there. And now that basically it's not about karmic adjustments and stuff like that anymore. So we've done that. It worked out pretty fine. I'm really happy about it. But now it's a whole new ball game, and in this new ball game, it's even more unknowable. So yeah, there is a perspective of, yeah, there is this possibility for the next few months or so, but you know, it all depends. It depends. Why does it depend? It depends on so many factors, and one of them is the fact that we're not here alone, in terms of, yes, I am my reality, and all of the people in my reality are a part of me, yet they are also their own reality, and they are also their own isness. So this idea that there is no other, and there isn't, because there is only my perspective and perception of all of the others that are me in my reality, but each one of them has the same thing going for themselves, right?
All right,
Okay.
can I just stop for a little
Please,
bit, because you
please
probably
do.
see me giggling.
Yeah.
And I'm giggling because the way you've set up your camera. So all of a sudden, I've transported to the moon. So I'm on the moon watching down.
Yeah. Down on Earth, right? And it's green. It's green.
Gorgeous.
This was one of those in the moment decisions. Like I was sitting on my beautiful red chair, and all of a sudden, no, let's go and get that thing there and sit there. Okay, let's do that then. That will be fun.
And you're
And
like
so
in this beautiful greenery, like it's like this green and blue earth. It's gorgeous.
and you're the sky, because you're the blue sky, And we're just perfectly in this blend. It's exactly what we're talking about. It's just so absolutely descriptive and perfect for what we're sharing. And so I was saying, what was I saying?
You're talking about other people and
Ah,
yeah.
yeah. There you are. And so yeah, at any twist of the at any twist or turn, um, someone might have a different idea or
Mm,
choose to do things in a different way than whatever, or they might not be surrendering, or they might not be in their flow, or they might be choosing a different experience in their grace, or they might be choosing whatever, you know. So yeah, and there are a lot of others in a
mm,
sense that we do have a lot of interactions going on in our
mm,
life, even with the people we don't know at all, which are the ones who produce stuff that we eat, the ones who produce the things that we buy,
mm,
who transport them, who etc. There are many others that are unseen.
mm,
So, meaning that the adjustment within, okay, so what is my choice or my experience in terms in my souled human self? What is the choice for now? Okay. And so many times adjustments will be needed along the way, and many times even changes of trajectory. So not only adjustments is like, oh, oops, okay, that one doesn't work anymore. So let's just go another way
mm,
now. That was fun, that was good, that was really okay, but now it's not working anymore. So let's just do something else. And having that flexibility, um, that knowingness that it doesn't really matter whether something didn't work out in terms in what humans perceive to work out. Like if you had a project and then for all sorts of circumstances at some point you just have to let it go because it's no longer a flow. Well, you just let it go and then you move into another kind of thing because it's all about the experience itself. It's not about being successful.
mm,
It's not about achievement. It's
mm,
not about predefined or preconceived
mm,
concepts of what should be.
mm,
And that is also another of the big differences between my human self before I realized I was much more than just and only limited in my humanness, and now is having that capacity to very quickly transmute into a new trajectory, to
mm,
very quickly alchemize
mm,
and rise into
mm,
something new with ease and grace and simplicity, and without feeling there was a failure
mm,
or that there's something missing or that somehow it should have been different and things like that.
mm,
That all disappears because why? Because we're in the now moment, and in the now moment it's all fine, right? So
mm,
it is what it is in the now moment, and everything sort of blends and trickles into the now moment. And this is something I'm sharing as well for everyone right now is going through huge challenges, I'm sure, in terms of changes. Changes of whatever perspective, of lifestyle. There's the inflation, there's this, that, it's so many different things, right? And so I would say, I mean, if you find yourself being challenged, like if something has become an effort, don't be afraid to drop it, because once you drop it, the space that opens is just so wide, and there is so much abundance within the new now. Once you drop the effort of what's no longer working, be it in jobs, in relationships, in the house, in the way you live, whatever. I mean, whatever is has become an effort, just allow it to adjust, allow it to show itself. I mean, it can be simple. And for me, that has been a huge discovery in these last years, and more, that discovery that it's all fine just the way it is,
But
even though sometimes it doesn't seem to be when we're going through a transition.
but it does, involve that work, doesn't it? Like, so,
Yes.
we're to come to this place, it really is a very natural, it's not forced, and it is not a step-by-step process. It just means that like I call that I've percentageized. I don't know, it's a new word.
Lovely.
Like I've like the percentage of my soul, or whatever I call soul, or awareness, or consciousness, whatever that part, there's so much percentage of that that now all of a sudden these kind of things then happen by themselves. So as you were talking, I was keep on having flashes of what when I was experiencing, and I'm experiencing these things, like, the changes and how I was experiencing my changes with this relationship with the human and soul. And I remember there were a few years when all the focus was just, oh my gosh, I have to keep remembering to allow the soul, and it was an effort to keep coming back to self, to keep coming back into the body, and then feel that presence, and sometimes I could feel it more, sometimes less, but that was the focus. And then slowly in the last few years that kind of dissolved naturally by itself, because all of a sudden now I don't really think about that much. I used to think about and really ponder these things about the soul and the presence and all of that in my everyday, because I had to keep remember to come back to the now, from that future, from the worry, from the past. And then slowly that just dissolved, and now I find myself like, oh, I remember, oh, am I a soul, am I a human? I don't even know who's looking through the eyes a lot of the time. And then at other times, there are very specific times, for example, like let's say when I'm in the morning, when I wake up, or in the evening when I go to sleep, or when I'm walking, where I kind of like divide inside. It's not that I divide, but it feels like there's two voices, which is the human and the soul self, because then we're chatting and we're making plans, and we're making we're sort of having insights. And again, that's when I say we, I'm I. But it's like this not voices, because it's not like hearing voices, but it's just that knowingness,
an inner dialogue.
That's right, it's an inner dialogue. And that and for me, the way I experience the soul presence is almost like a scent, kind of, how can I say, or like when you have air, let's say you have air and you have some oxygen and you have all these other different gases. And when I'm very human, it's like there's a lot of human atoms. And then when the soul presence comes in, all of a sudden the atoms are more mingled, but they know, each one of them know, okay, this is human part, this is soul part, not to separate, but to be able to communicate and interact. And so it's not like there is this kind of division like a wall. It's more like descent, like let's say if you smell a rose, sometimes the scent is stronger, and then it dissipates and it's stronger. So that's how this presence of my soul kind of feels. We're now very much into the analogies, because words can't really describe. It's, we all know, all of us that are even, the participants, we know that there's majority of these things we can't describe, but we have these analogies. And that's how I experience it, a scent, but it is so very particular. It's like, I can see a person and I recognize them. Oh, this is my sister, this is my brother, this is my friend. These parts of self are so recognizable that even more easily I cannot mix them up. I know exactly which part is which and what's what, even though nobody has given me names. It's just this inside of you. I just know everything, and it's like, you get all these experiences, and then you also get all the knowingness with it, so that you don't wonder what's what. And it's those aha moments. And for example, so when I feel that presence, when I kind of separate and I know this is a humanness, this is a soul part, that's when that kind of interaction of feminine and masculine feels. Because for me, the human part feels very feminine, because that's the one that keeps allowing, meaning keeps surrendering to the soul self. And the soul self, for me, it feels at the moment, these things change as well, but at the moment it feels very masculine. So it's kind of that beautiful dance. And lately, this year especially, I must say that what's come to the forefront. So that focus has changed from thinking, oh, I have to allow. So I don't even have to anymore, because it's here, the presence, it's here, I am here. So now I've sort of kind of moved into this fantasy world, which is actually not in the old sense of fantasy world, but like you mentioned, this travel between the dimensions, realizing, okay, all of the dimensions actually are not there, but they are here, right here. They always have been here. Like I sort of used to imagine there is Earth, and then there are all these other realms somewhere else, but actually they've always been here. The soul's always been here. The angels have always been here. Other beings have always been here. And so this fantasy has become like a real next level. It's kind of like that, my light body that it is allowing me to go in, to experience, not to go, but to experience these other realities that are here. And all of these other realities, they become as solid, almost now as solid as a physical reality. And I can travel, and I can seamlessly travel between them. So for example, I imagine myself, let's say, with wings, all of a sudden I have wings, and all of a sudden I find myself in the evening on top of the Eiffel Tower, taking a selfie, looking down at all the lights of the like it's as real, it's real, like, so it's just this incredible experience, is completely out of what I thought was even possible. And so I'm exploring that. It's called, almost feels like writing chronicles, but in blood, in real time, not into a book, but it's kind of like I'm pasting these stories and new life of myself into all these different dimensions that are all here. And I can't tell you how real they are. And the dreams, the interaction between the dreams and the awakening in the morning, all these new feelings that are now coming in, that I can feel, that I've never felt before. I thought that I felt all these different feelings already, but now it's just this dream world, and the now world has got, it's like this bridge, these doors are open, and the feelings are like these scents that are wafting through so strongly. It's like someone's cooking in my dream world, all these imagery and stories and lifetime lives, and all these scents are wafting, especially in the morning when I wake up, into this reality, and they're not closing, the doors are no longer closing. So it's become, especially in these last 2 months, I must say, something has changed drastically. The ability to shape shift into the realities. And I don't know what, it's like you feel, okay, so what's the purpose of this? But it's just, I think it's kind of just showing how that we've changed the nature of the physical reality. We've changed the vibration of the earth reality, so that this is now possible, which this even 5 years ago wasn't possible to such a degree. So I'm just enjoying myself, and yet at the same time I feel like I'm not doing anything, like, and then this thing comes through. It's like, okay, so I trust, I used to would wake up in the morning and think, wow, I have to do so many things, and now I'm thinking, I actually don't have to do many things, just this and this and this, because so many worries and concerns about, survival and doing and having to do all of these steps on the list are just gone. Like you mentioned, you explained it in a different way. And I find that a couple of days ago I was writing a list, to put on the fridge as to things I have to do, and there were only 5 things on it, and 3 of those are something to do with fun. So I'm thinking, wow, so where has the work gone? I'm not even having to do the work. I'm thinking, wow, that's all I have to do. So that kind of busyness has gone even. And then at the same time, again, it does require a next level again of that trust, which again comes naturally, because with the presence, as you allow more presence, more trust comes, more ability to trust comes. And this ability then to understanding of how reality works, and then that manifestation of the flow of abundance all comes naturally within that space. It's not that I have to make it with my mind, but it's just that I'm just present with myself. And because I'm allowing enough percentage of presence of my consciousness to be here, then all of these other things that used to be a work of the human, concern of the human, a job of the human, have just dropped away because they just happen by themselves. Kind of like, if you look at the birds, the seeds for them just grow by themselves. It's not like they have to go and plow and put the hard work into making, but they just they eat the seeds. Some seeds don't digest, they poop, they fall into the ground, the new tree grow, it just can't. But it's kind of nature showing that that's how, like it not like, because all of the creatures naturally, how can I say, they are natural farmers. We majority of people don't see that, but like, for example, even if you look at, I have a chance to look at, let's say, wild rabbits even, they cultivate that grass when they have space, when they're not in a tiny cage, they cultivate the grass. So they will go to the toilet in one place, and they pick little things. They know which ones they can eat at what time. And so in the space where rabbits grow, they have the natural way, there will be more of that grass because they cultivate it. And it's the same with the birds, they just naturally plant those trees that they eat by the natural processes. So it's kind of like me also falling into that kind of natural way of being, out of this heavy, burdensome human life, where you just feel like you're just born so that you can just make yourself go to school, or someone makes you go to school, and then you just have to work so hard for so little. That is kind of naturally changing and transforming by itself, I find, and in such a drastic way, and in such a way that the fear by itself, I don't even have to work with the fear anymore like I used to have to work with the fear. And it's like, it just is not present, because like I feel myself much more natural in all of the things that I do. So there's still changes happening. So hopefully by next month's program, I will understand what's going on a little even more. But there's something drastic happening, and it's quite incredible. I find quite incredible.
Yeah, me too. And the funny thing is, we have completely different experiences, but the juice of it is the same, because it's the same source within us. And interestingly enough, with that, the part that you mentioned about that it used to be an effort to have to remember to come back to soul, for me it was different, because I experienced effort when I was not in touch with the soul. So it was like I had to keep on reminding myself to get in touch, because of the hardship. So so it was hard. It was whatever, dramatic, this, that, and the other. And then, oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah. Let me come back. Let me come back. And coming back to soul was always the relief, the release, the safety, the comfort, the beauty, the love, being in compassion, all of that stuff. So base all of that stuff, that now
Yeah,
we
yeah,
call
yeah.
by first name. Anyway, the thing is, so for me it wasn't an effort to remind myself to come back to soul. It was the effort itself that reminded me to come back to soul all the time. So it was like, and the effort was that I was easily pulled into mass consciousness and the stuff that was going on, and it was an effort to be in that, and having to remind myself, oh, wait a minute, but there is another way. And then, okay, yeah, I have to remind myself, and then whenever I touched that, and sometimes it used to be like, this was a long time ago, but I remember it was just sometimes such a fleeting moment, but just that moment was so much more powerful and significant than the huge amount of time spent in effort and struggle and all of that, that it made a whole lot of a difference. It was like that little drop of elixir, of the magic elixir, made the whole difference. And so that kept me going, and then I would allow myself a little bit more. I remember at a point I was reading the Course in Miracles, and I did the 365 invitations, and so I did one per day. And I remember, so the sentence, it was
That
like,
was an effort.
yeah,
That was a
and
good effort.
it was. The funny thing was that, and that sentence was like, oh, wait a minute, yeah, okay, and I'd come back to that awareness, because it was easy to lose it. It was easy to lose that awareness. So basically, the way I see effort was not the effort itself of choosing to come, but the effort of everything else was so big that it was a bit of a, oh gosh, right.
It was
And then
work. It was work,
it was,
basically. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Because all of those things were so seductive, and that's the thing
right,
that we have to keep remembering to come.
exactly, to
To
come.
keep
But
coming
then
back.
the elixir, because it was so powerful,
I
when we got,
call it mesmerizing. I found myself so mesmerizing from the
right, there you
start.
are, that it only needed a small
Mhm.
percentage. Like when we reached a percentage which I call critical mass within ourselves, then it was more time with the soul than everything else, and then gradually just then it just changes per se once we reach critical mass. But the point is, to reach critical mass, it was really, yeah, okay, oh
Work.
yeah, I'm in this effort again. I don't want to be in the effort. Okay, no,
Yeah.
okay, then come back. And the other thing which you were sharing was so interesting. Like, for instance, I have a whole lot of building bioconstruction stuff going on at the moment. And so, like, for instance, next week we will be building a tool shed, but it's a really quite fairy like tool shed, so it's gonna be so much fun. And the funny thing
So it's
is,
not going to be a man shed. It's going to be a woman shed.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And the funny, it's gonna be totally a woman shed, because it's gonna have flowers outside on the walls and everything. Anyway, the funny thing is that I notice. So as you said, is I'm no longer sort of concerned about how I'm gonna earn my money or anything. It's totally out of my. I don't give it one thought. And it's so strange, because it used to be such a thing. It used to be such a thing to worry about and to have to be concerned about, I mean, when am I gonna do my work? Because I'm gonna take the whole week off just to play with these things and and so that is a huge change. And the change is also that this, of course, implies a lot of physical work. It will be tiring at some points, but it's not tiring as in effort. It's just, well, yeah, because if it's very physical and it requires strength sometimes, and yeah, you have to adjust and that. But the thing is, because it's so much fun, it's an invitation, it's a soul invitation and a soul creation with the human Lego blocks. That there has been no effort in getting all of the materials together, getting friends to come and help, getting the time to aside to do it, and then everything just materializes so fast. It's like, okay, it's just that, okay. And this playfulness of being able to discover new things and new ways of doing things, and all the time, every single day. So in my case, I was a lot in a very inward kind of experience for the last year, and now it's sort of shifting into okay, now I'm experiencing all of that inward into my immediate reality as well, in the physicality. And it's so strange. I can't even define how strange it is to me that there is absolutely no effort in it, in making it happen, or in allowing it to happen. It's not making it happen. It's not even making it happen. It's allowing it to happen as it is asking to happen, to be happened into the reality itself. And even the physical tiredness, which sometimes comes up with the physical effort, it feels good. It feels healthy. It feels alive. It's just strange. I That's the only thing I can say, that it's strange, but it's beautifully strange. It's strange in the most magical ways. So it's if we would go into chambre terms, really experiencing the Merlin in a very, very practical sense, as in, boom, okay, here it is. What else did you ask for, dear master?
Exactly, yeah. And everything, and things that are created are very, very perfect, aren't they? Like,
Yes.
they are so matched to who you are, to who, let's say, who I am, to the very I don't, and it's so out of this world as well, because when I look at, let's say, on YouTube, what's happening with other people, I'm thinking, wow, but how am I able to create this kind of peace, this kind of paradise for myself, these kind of things that are so match made in heaven? And it's because we are our own reality, like that. That's what I've been also able to really start to perceive, that how we, like, I think you were talking about this earlier in your own way, to perceive this, that how we each do live in our own reality and my own sovereign space, and how it doesn't get impacted by other people, even though I can feel them and I can interact with them and I can appreciate their presence, and to some people even more than ever, because like now I feel much more open, because it's that intense work of allowing the soul is now finished. And that's what for me now really it feels like this year. There's a part of the work has really completed itself, and I'm in a very, very different space now than I was even the previous decade. Now it's kind of like that that drastic change is
like
that,
a new
yeah,
world.
a new place, and
Yeah.
still, as I'm still exploring it, so I don't know what exactly, how far it goes, how it exactly works, and that's the fun part. But it is interesting. It is actually amazing to experience this kind of shift, because before, like I felt, like other people, so stuck in the reality, and so stuck in that rush and constant effort, and give and give and give, like to and work and output. That how they used to, I think it was Dieter Bias, a friend Dieter Bias, that explained this. It was that human masculine that kept on making that effort, and masculine is do and put the energy out and put the energy out. And then, when I first heard it's the time of that feminine, like I heard that like maybe a decade, or I don't know when, I didn't really know what that meant, and I don't think anybody really knew what that meant. But I think this is what I'm now starting to really understand, what it actually means.
The
This
gentleness of
gentleness
reality.
and openness and
Yeah.
vulnerability, and
Yeah.
also this having to work at reality, this having to go out and do this job and do those lists, things, tick off things off the list, and this busyness, and continually, because it used to be like, if you thought about money, okay, so I need money, okay, so what do I have to do to get that money? What do I have to do? What activities? Okay, I have to do this and this and this and this. Or for someone, maybe, if they're not working for themselves, it's like, okay, I have to go and get a job, or whatever. I have to go and ask for a raise or whatever, But now those kind of things have just gone. Like, it's kind of this flow, this allowing. I'm not even asking the same questions anymore. So when I'm thinking, okay, so what do I have to do for the money? It's not even a question anymore. It makes no sense in this reality anymore, because somehow this flow just happens, and in that now moment, when it comes, I just do it, and I do it really well because I'm present. So you like the way you've explained what you're doing with your physical reality, when I say, okay, I'm quiet, I'm not actually doing much, it's not entirely accurate. It feels like I'm not doing much,
Yeah.
but at the same time, everything is sorted. My
Yeah.
my place is clean, my car is clean, my garden is done, my veggie garden is watered, all of the things with it, clothes are washed, things are done, whatever I need to do for my business is done. So somehow everything gets done, and yet
Yeah.
it doesn't feel
Effortlessly.
like it's that I'm kind
Yeah.
of doing, or even taking things off the list. And at the same time, all of a sudden, I've got like you too. It's like, okay, I'm taking a week off. I remember I had to, couple of shows ago, when we had Linda and Jeff as guests, and you and Jeff were talking how you're not taking time off, And
Yeah.
I had to, I had to shut up, because all I do is take time off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels like, this time to go explore nature, for me, to go and even just not do much, just potter around. All of a sudden, I have so much time to do that. It's so weird how, like, I can't relate anymore to that crazy busyness of the normal human life that I used to lead. Like, and I can't imagine what was so busy. So it's kind of like all of the time has either stretched, or, well, the time is stretchable and the time doesn't exist. It is just that really what we're trying, both you and I are trying to say, that the presence of consciousness changes the nature of physical reality to such degree that it is no longer recognizable. And for what it was 15 years ago, it no longer is. And so all of those things that, for example, I wished 15, 20 years ago when I had full-time job and I wished, oh my God, I wish I had time. At that time, it was just work, come home, try to sort, try to
Yeah.
keep your place, try to keep
Right.
everything clean, try to do the shopping. And I can't imagine how people do it with kids that have kids as well. And, this is the life of most people. And that life, it no longer is. And I have no less money, more. I have no less of, not nothing is missing from my life, and yet there is simplicity, there is time, there is peace. There is just this peace that I can just slowly do things. I don't have to rush. I can enjoy. I can and yet nothing at the same time feels like nothing has changed, and yet everything has changed. And
Yeah.
all it really needed was that presence of, that presence of consciousness, of awareness, of soul presence in my life. And it changed even the time, and it changed even the space within my life by itself, without having to do anything. So the only effort was to unstick myself from efforting, like you so beautifully described how hard it was to live separated, to keep, because at that time it was so sticky, that reality, that being in this presence of soul was just like you said, just those little glimpses, and that was amazing. And then got sucked back in again, into worry, into past, into future, into not being in the now. And yet now being in this, that was the only really work that was coming back to self, was the
Yeah.
only work really. But once I'm back into self, the work is gone. Like, I can't say that I'm working at anything. I can't say that, that it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like effort. It's not to say that some things are not frustrating. They are, especially like crazy crowds if you go to a shopping center or something like that. But yeah, I don't know how else to explain it really.
Yeah. I'd like to put in a note here, which I find might be relevant because sometimes people listening would want to jump into this immediately. And just like Alexis was sharing, just like I was sharing, it takes its time. It is a process, and there's no way to be in this without having really allowed that presence of consciousness over and over and over and over until it becomes the majority of who and what you are and where you are and when you are, and then it shifts gradually. So that being said, what I mean to say is that, for instance, let's imagine you're feeling really bad because you don't have any money, and you don't know what to do, and so on and so forth. It's not like just the presence of consciousness is going to bring you money all of a sudden. So if you need to get a job, get it, but bring the presence of consciousness with you to that job and experience that job from a point of gratitude, from a point of openness, etc., until at some point you find yourself with money flowing in, and you've got all of your stuff together, and you're no longer in debt, and stuff like that, because we are in a physical, practical, tangible world where money issues can be a thing. And we are not here saying, neither me nor Alexis, that all of a sudden, just because, okay, now you know about your soul, and so all of a sudden all you need to do is sit back and the money will roll in. We're not saying that, and I wanted to leave that note here because I know that sometimes it can be understood in that way, and that's not what we're saying. And also, for others who do have a job, like a regular job, and that also you can be enjoying that job from this same effortless flow, And the presence of consciousness in that can be that you don't feel it as a stressful thing. It no longer brings up anxiety. You have a good relationship with whoever is your superior in terms of work hierarchy and colleagues and so on and so forth. Or it challenges you also to look at stuff that is eventually not integrated. And so you also allow the grace of that, of allowing the integration to happen until such moment where it is no longer an effort, and then you feel, okay, maybe I'm gonna leave this and move into something else, but with ease, effortlessness, grace, and not with resistance, fight, or feeling, oh no, this is so bad, and so on and so forth. It's a different, the presence of consciousness can change whatever kind of experience you're in. And the reason I'm bringing up the issue around money is because no, it's not about sitting on the couch and just putting your hands out and waiting for it to fall in your hands, in your lap. It doesn't happen that way. Basically, yes, it seems to us, because we're living this experience
because of this
now,
percentage, because of that percentage,
exactly,
all of a sudden it starts to
it
be
happens.
experienced it that way.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's not that we did something specific to make it happen that way. It just starts shifting into this, and this is what it becomes. But whatever experience each one that is listening is in is perfectly appropriate for you, obviously. And if it is about not having any money, feeling that you need to do something to get some money, well, that's just get off your butt and go and do something about it. Don't just keep on sitting there waiting for it to happen by the grace of God all of a sudden, because it's really about how much you are in life, and life is in you. You see, it's just one and the same thing. So if somehow there is a resistance towards how in this moment that thing called money is generated for you, and you feel a resistance towards getting a job or towards this or that is the issue here. It's not about getting the job itself. It's not about how you're going to earn the money. It's about how you perceive something to be a bad thing, to be, oh no, that's not for me anymore, whatever, oh, I'm beyond that. Well, you aren't if you're experiencing lack. You are not beyond that. Please don't fool yourself, because that's really painful. And the reason why I'm sharing this is that it's really painful to be feeling like you don't have enough to pay your bills, to run your credit cards off the roof, and then you have all of that interest to pay. And it's not comfortable to create that kind of reality for oneself. So it's part of the kindness and the gentleness of the feminine that you were sharing, Alexis. It's part of that, also providing yourself with the means and the possibility to come to a point where you can then actually choose how you want to allow the money to flow in. But at some points we do have to work for it or do something in order to have it flow. I mean, yeah, you could wait for someone in the family to die that has a lot of money and inherit it. Well, you could be waiting for 20 years. You never know. or 50.
And some do create that too, like
but it's not because you're waiting there for that to happen. It's like, you get on with life. You get on with your own reality, with your own choices, and things happen. And then things happen. Things happen as a consequence of the presence of consciousness, and not because you want to force consciousness to happen or to accelerate your reality. So you allow presence of consciousness. I allow presence of consciousness. We allow presence of consciousness. And the reality then shapes and shifts accordingly.
And
So
what
that's
you are
it.
describing is as actually the perfect example of living out of your mind or living out of your soul self. So
Yeah.
doing, when you are in that space yet where you have such, for a person that has such issues, let's say with jobs, with abundance, you're still in the mind. That's such a clear example that you're still trying to organize your reality from the
Right.
mind.
And it's
and
not
and the
bad.
journey,
It's not
no, nothing wrong with
the
it.
journey.
It's the
That's it.
journey.
That's why we're sharing it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we've all experienced it. And for me, what if one of the biggest things always has been for me, like for example, is to always come back to self. So
Yeah.
regardless of what the
Regardless.
teachers were saying on non-physical friends, and it's got nothing to do with trust, it's got nothing to do with anything, but it has to do with that you have to turn and follow
Inwards.
your own self. And this
Yeah.
is the whole point. So if the teaching doesn't bring you back always back to the self, then you'll continue to be a follower, and you
Yeah.
will never be a master. You can say that master, I'm a master as much as you like, but you're still in your mind if you're a follower. So how you do that, it's really very simple. Is follow your like what happens
Your
immediately
inner
happens
knowingness.
inner knowingness, but also all of the events that happen
Yeah.
to you. So for example, if you have a problem with work, this is your job. This is that work where you
In
have
that
to,
moment.
yeah, in that moment where you allow, that's where the energy is surrounding you at that moment. So you have to then allow your soul to, doesn't matter what other people are doing, doesn't matter what the program
Or
that you're
how they're doing
watching,
it.
yeah, and doesn't matter where they are, or doesn't matter what other people are saying. It's not that they're not saying the right thing, it's just that for you, the reality, your raw material is what is your issue at that moment.
Yeah.
And it's only through those issues that you come to, like, allowing the presence of your soul through and in those issues that are happening for you, that you will then get to a space where you are then in your soul rather than trying to work it in your mind. And this is the brilliance really of this journey, because you don't have to go anywhere. You just have to deal with what is happening, what you are creating in your life. You are co-creating with your soul. And so
Yeah.
if and so when if a lot, majority, all of us really have had to find ways, let's say through work or whatever. So it doesn't matter if other people say, oh, I don't go to work anymore, this is beneath me now. But if
Yeah.
for you, you have to do it, just do it. And the thing is, honor that. That's what
That's
my
it.
trick
With
was always.
gratitude.
That's right. So I've always, instead of always just trying to fit into what other people were saying, or even a whole group was saying that, oh, this is, and I said, okay, that's interesting, but at the
If there's
moment,
above and below, there is a
yeah,
mind concept in that.
yeah,
If it's beneath you, then you're sort of you're judging it.
exactly, you're in that judgment and you have to resolve. But for me, the way I was always dealing with it is just come back. Okay, I had to always come back where I am in the world, perhaps far away from everyone else, and come back to, okay, so this is my reality, these are my issues, this is what is immediately facing me, and within this raw materials is that where I meet myself.
Is
And
transcendence.
yeah, and that's all you really need. You have, each one of us has everything, but it's needing to sometimes to let go what other people are doing, because it's wonderful to travel in a group, and it's been such a brilliant idea of all of us to incarnate as groups so that we can support. But there comes a time, where,
Many
so
times.
many times, yeah, but also comes a time when a soul will deliberately move you from group from
Yeah.
friends, because you have to really learn to listen and to hear its voice, or that communication. And so to learn that, you may even start doing quite the opposite of what your group of friends are doing. And it's not because they're wrong or you're wrong or anyone's wrong, but it's just simply to see that you can listen to the inner voice, your inner voice, and follow, and then see the results of what happens when you actually follow. And then also then deal with all of the crap that happens, that is still attached to, that hasn't been cleared out. It always keeps happening until it gets cleared out. And then you just have that clean and clear presence of the soul without all of that, junk that was attached before. And so each one person really just keep coming to yourself. And even if the issue for me was the same, some of the issues was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It's the same issue again and again. How boring, how perfectly boring is this bloody issue I had in, this kind of, it feels so boring, the same bloody issue, but it won't go away until
it won't.
I allow the presence of the soul consciousness, which in this case we mean consciousness, to infiltrate, or
to infuse it, to illuminate it in a sense.
That part that was so boring. And once it's infused, like you said, you realize that too was sacred, so there was no point of putting it down. There is nothing lower, because it's all you. So why would you put, it makes no sense. But also then you become, it's like, oh, I actually like this part. And the funny thing then, that thing goes away, because now you've dealt with it, and it's like, I've just started liking this. Why is it gone? That's what happened. Just when I started to like it, boom, gone.
There you are. Exactly. So accurate.
So it's like, why doesn't this go away? I dislike this, go away, It's funny. We have to laugh at our journey. So I think, do you feel that we're complete?
Yeah, I do. Totally. I was going to say that.
I'm going to have a look and see if we have any questions, and I'm going to go on Facebook, or if anybody has any questions, please check it out. Please write them out, type them out. I think we don't have.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, next time it will be maybe a month, maybe more from now. Yeah. So let's see what comes up for next time. But so far, it's been a really wonderful joyride with a lot of nuances.
And also we would like to invite each one to check out our websites. We've got a number of programs going on. I've got tomorrow another 3 months group happening with Michael on exploring consciousness and energy. I've closed it. Normally it's up to 33, but I've closed it at 11. It's beautiful, lovely group. So I'm looking forward to that. Then we're coming to Christmas. There will be with 3 months over Christmas journey about your soul and consciousness. Please check that out. If you want to travel with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. So I've been doing that for the last 3 years. It's really worked beautifully, because over the Christmas time, with Mary and Yeshua, and they normally interchangeably, like Yeshua will come one channel, and then next time will be Mary Magdalene. So it's 2 channels per month, correspondence support, and discounts with private sessions. Also, the Soul Vibes. I've started a couple of new programs. The Soul Vibes. It's monthly. Check that out. And also the gathering, where we sort of meet with Zoom like this. There have been a couple of people. The last group we had, it was only a small group, but we'll see how it develops. It's been very, very beautiful energy. So it's funny, and this is like a perfect example, isn't it, Tanya? Because we're talking how we're not doing anything, but at the same time,
there's so much.
This is exactly the thing.
I'm in the process. We're finishing off a CD. a
Wow.
book,
Wow.
actually two books,
Wow.
and then 3 or 4 ebooks that I am finishing to edit, and then I'm creating another
Wow.
thing, and then there's loads of stuff happening at the same time, but it's not like there is. It's like,
That's
it's all just so
yeah,
simple.
yeah. It just feels like there's all this time in between to also enjoy and
And I've got
relax
this
and
3 month journey. It's in the
yeah.
moment happening, and
Wow.
it's like on one hand it's happening so beautifully and
Mm,
it's so fulfilling, and on the other hand it's totally effortless. So
mm,
it's it's really
yeah.
amazing how true it is what we've heard
Mm,
along the way from our non-physical friends and others that have been here on earth and shared how it used to be, and that we would say, oh no way, that's too airy fairy, it's not
yeah.
gonna be like that. And it is, and
Yeah.
it's amazing to be watching it. It's like I'm witnessing my
Mm,
own reality unfolding. So on my
mm,
website also you have loads of stuff to explore and all
mm,
that. And yeah, we just keep on creating.
mm.
But and the thing is, it is not work. We are
Mm.
not working at it.
It doesn't feel,
We're just
it doesn't
allowing it.
feel, yeah. And
Yeah.
for me, even a few months ago, it felt like I had more work with all of
Yeah, me
this.
too.
It felt
Me
like there
too.
was just always something to do. And now, last couple of months, it feels like, wow, you know,
Yeah, for me
wow,
it's a
I've
big
got,
difference too.
yeah, yeah,
In these
yeah,
last 2 months, I notice a lot of difference in that as
yeah.
well.
There is,
Though it was already effortless, now it's even much
yeah,
more.
yeah, exactly, yeah. All right. Well, wonderful to see you, dear Tanya.
Oh, and thank you for your donations.
And
Always important to thank you, and wonderful to see you, everyone. And Alex, it's such a pleasure all the time.
always,
Wow.
and to feel each one of you participating, you're fully present. Tanya and I, we feel you, we feel your
Yes, and it's
presence.
a joy.
Yeah, and whether you're watching this later, much later, it matters not, because we are in the now moment. And
Thank
to
you.
each and everyone, have the most wonderful, adventurous journey. Have may your each and every day of yours be brilliant and wonderful and exciting and an exploration. And I hope to see each one of you with wings, and we can together
Yes.
sit on the top of Eiffel Tower, not where the people stand, all the way at the top, and watch the beautiful twinkling eyes of the evening. And then the sunset
Yay.
light, we watch the sunset, and then the light changing in the horizon, and all the lights come up. It's incredible. So if anybody wants to join me there.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes.
Namaste. Okay. See ya.
Namaste.
Bye bye.
Thank you.